you can't do an hour great meditation and say, oh my God, I feel so grateful. I feel so much love. My heart is so open.
And then go back into
and then get up, and the next 16 hours of your day, you're flipping people off on the freeway. You're judging and one person wonders why I haven't healed. Well, weigh 1 hour of regulation against 16 hours of you being out of balance. So
that's a missing step just for me. Forgive me, just as Dr. Joe for Dummies. How do you get that? Because I've seen the people in the documentary doing your meditations. I've heard some of your meditations. How do you get that working in your life? You're driving down the 101 freeway. How do I actualize that?
Well, first of all, so I love the question because I think it's really important. But I'll use an example of someone who's struggling with, and we've seen hundreds of people with stage 4 cancer. That I know that sounds kind of crazy, and I don't want to give anybody false hope, but it's the side effect of when a person changes. We've seen so many people heal from cancer, and many of them. They start off on the journey and they notice that when they do the work, they start sleeping better at night. They start getting an appetite back. They have more energy. Their pain levels go down. They notice changes, but the cancer is still, in their body, and it's still in their bones. It's still in their organs. It's spreading. So they start doing the work. They start doing the meditations. Okay, I got to be able to do this with my eyes open. Like I got to be able to start practicing with my eyes open. So now becomes really important, because if they're going to react to their ex or to
their boss,
or their one of their friends, and they start getting angry or start getting resentful, whoops, you're back to the same emotional state, and that emotion is going to cause you to behave as if you're in your past. And it's going to influence you to think in the past, right? So they default, and they go back to the old personality, and they know that's why they're not healing. They're not saying meditation, I'm not healing. They're saying, what is it about me that I have to get really good at doing? So now when I get with my ex, or now when I get with my boss, let me rehearse what would love do. What would greatness look like? Okay, well, I don't know. Well, go read a book and find somebody who's great, that just was unlimited, whoever that was. Get some information in there. What would love do? And really start rehearsing what you're going to do in that circumstance. Okay, you get in the same circumstance, you don't knee-jerk, you don't emotionally respond the same way, and now all of a sudden that's a victory, right? And not only are you healing your body in that moment, but now your response to that person will never be the same. It's like you overcame the addiction. You were using that person to reaffirm your addiction to judgment or to resentment, right? Now, you overcome your emotional state, then you no longer respond in the same way because you've broken the addiction, right? So the person then has to really, really plan their behaviors. And they have to keep, and we do this in our events. When you lock into that elevated emotional state and you feel it and it's amazing, I make people bring it up, I don't know, hundreds of times. I want them to be able to bring it up so many times they can bring it up on their own when they're in traffic and say, I'd rather feel this way on the way to work than the other way.
So you go into work, your boss is a dick, you can just bring up that transcendent state.
Be able to,
and through that, and you can ride out and overcome the old patterns of behavior that will bring you right back.
Sure. And that's not a linear process. I want to be really clear.
Sure.
I mean, as I said earlier,
that's not a 7-day process.
No, that's not a 7-day process. But when people retreat from their lives for 7 days and they remove themselves from the same people and the same place and the objects and things, and they're retreating to invest in themselves and to change and get renewed, they're doing that so that when they walk out into their life, their knee jerks and their emotional responses and their habituations, they've for the most part, overcome some of them, right? So now you get back into your life, every person, every object, everything, every place has a neurological network in your brain, okay? If you're not getting up, being defined by a vision of the future, I guarantee you're going to default back to the memories of your past, and you'll be predictable in your life. Because as you see the same people, you're going to see them through the neurological network that you've created from the past, which is a memory of them. You're going to see them through the past. That's what reality is for most people. And because you've experienced enough things with them, you're going to have an emotion that's associated with them. Okay. So that if you're not being defined by a vision of the future, as you open your eyes and your senses plug you back into the three-dimensional world, see the same people, go to the same places, do the exact same thing, react and respond and think in the exact same ways, it's no longer that your personality is creating your personal reality.
Yeah.
Now your personal reality is controlling your personality. Your environment is controlling how you feel and think and then ultimately behave.
The Soul Boom Podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you get your stupid podcasts.